I did it. 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 And it feels so good. It just feels so good to finally do it again. By the way, before we get into the video, you guys see I added a new knickknack. 0 to 1, baby, in the back. We got to add more. Leave your comments. What are the best knickknacks to add here? I'm getting a bobblehead of Tom Nash's face. It'll be really funny. Okay. I did it, and it feels so good. What did I do? I did it today on my morning live stream, which, by the way, 300 people showed up to, which was amazing. Really, really appreciate everyone who showed up to. And I finally did it. I did it. What did I do? Here's what I did. ARK Innovation ETF. I had 25 shares of this ETF at an average of $84, $87, around that average. That's what I was buying. This was January 2022. Today, 2 hours ago, as you can see, April 28th, 2022. And if you want to see how emotional it was when it was live, I'll leave a link to the description. You can check it out. It starts at around the 7-minute, 15-second mark. I sold 25.4 shares at $48, and I got the hell out of ARK, and I liquidated $1,200. Now, you may be asking, why did you do this? Why did you do this, Mitt? Well, if we go to this company right here, this is why I did it. Right here. Very simple. Very, very simple why I did it. If you guys can see, Teladoc on the 1 year is already down. So let's look at the 5 year. I mean, 5 years, it was at 390 something February 2021. That's when Kathy was buying, 285, 290. Now it's down to 29. Yesterday, it's halted right now. That's why it's not even moving, because that's how bad it is. It is down 47%. This is actually insane. Kathy Wood and ARK Invest just so happens, and that was the drop off yesterday, as you can see, it was just insane, to have about 11 million shares of Teladoc stock. 11 million shares. They had a $631 million position as of yesterday. Those same 11 million shares times 29 is in half. It's now a $327 million position. And their average, by the way, is somewhere up in the 140s, I believe, or 150s on Teladoc. It is quite literally insane what is going on. I don't even want to blame Kathy for this, to be honest. I really feel bad for her in this situation. But you can't have 11 million shares of a company that is going to lose 40% of its value. And I'll do another video kind of explaining what happened with Teladoc, and I talked about it in the morning live stream, because they overpaid for a acquisition by 700%. You lose faith in management. You cannot bet on those companies. But regardless, Teladoc, you could understand it's kind of innovative, whatever, and I can understand how she potentially buys it. The biggest issue I have, the biggest issue and the biggest reason I sold ARK, it wasn't even because of the Teladoc drop yesterday. I mean, that ultimately triggered me to get rid of this. But the biggest issue I have is that you're betting on a management that paid 700% for a premium for an acquisition, $18 billion. That's now worth 14% of what they acquired it for 10 months ago. And you're saying that company's innovative, that company's going to do amazing things, but you're not betting on Peter Thiel or Alex Karp. Really? Really? You're going to liquidate, you're going to buy 37 million shares, tell everyone 5-year time horizon. One earnings comes out where they don't increase governmental clients, which, by the way, they increase revenue from existing governmental clients in a pandemic type of era, in a world in which federal budgets weren't passed, in a world in which there's increased competition. And you say, all 37 million of my shares, gone. Lost total conviction. They grew 41% year over year. They have the most innovative tech stack in the $85 trillion industry you think that exists, which is AI. And you're going to bet against that type of management, but you're going to bet on management that was buying something for $18 billion when it wasn't even worth $18 billion. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. The reason why I sold ARK is because I wanted to go and buy me some Palantir. I bought today, and I'm going to update my position on what I have on Palantir so you guys will see it as well. Here we go. 111 shares at $1,200, $10.81. I bought the shares. I am so happy. I have not been buying Palantir for about a month and a half now because I just don't have any capital that I can put into the market, disposable income. So today I finally liquidated this thing that I just had to look at every single day in my portfolio. Like, why do I own this? And after the Teladoc stuff, it was like, you know what? It's time. It is really time. There is zero reason for me to own this ETF. Like, what am I getting out of here? And I bought the Palantir dip. I bought it at 1080. Now it's at 1040. I really, it's 40 cents, whatever. I wasn't looking to be super strategic in buying. My average now is 1966, which is awesome. It's below 20, which is great. I have 2,176 shares, down 20 grand, 22 grand market value. And this is the first time I bought in like a month and a half. So almost 2 months, to be honest. I didn't buy in March. I think I bought like one share at $10 in March. So I really was happy to finally get into Palantir and just get a big purchase in there. Whether it's 1040, 1050, maybe it goes down to 9. I was like, this is the arbitrage I want right now. This is the stock. This is the dip that I'm willing to buy. And so I bought it. Now, it's very important to understand why I bought ARK in the first place. I bought ARK in January 2022 because I, like most people, did not see the market absolutely collapsing, right? We just didn't see that. That's natural. Sometimes you don't see that stuff. And so at $80, I was like, well, this ETF was like 160 at one point. It's undervalued decently. Like, I mean, it's a pretty decent ETF. The other reason I wanted to buy it was primarily because I wanted some exposure outside of Palantir. So I was like, okay, if I buy ARK, I'm getting my Palantir exposure, which is great because I wanted more Palantir exposure. But I don't only have to bet on just direct Palantir shares. I can actually bet on like Roku and Zoom and Teledyne, and I could actually get a little bit more exposure than just some of the stuff that I was getting for Palantir, which is why I bought it. When they liquidated Palantir, that was really annoying to me because I was like, well, then why am I holding ARK? I'm like, I get it. I get the other exposure to growth, but I don't have the conviction I have in those companies as I do in Palantir. It's like, imagine if you're a Tesla shareholder and ARK liquidates Tesla. And like, you like ARK because they have 10% of, their holdings are in Tesla, but if they get rid of all of it, it's like, what are you holding it for? So like, you're willing to buy into it because they have what you want, and then you get a little sprinkle of some other stuff, but and you don't want to only go in for the thing that you want because you're over, exposed there. So like, let me diversify. And then you realize, well, if they get rid of the thing you want and there's really no conviction there left in the ETF, then it's not worth it, which is why I think if you're going for an ETF, it's really got to be something where like you're okay with the ups and downs of the deal. Like the SPY, right? The SPY is the American economy. You should be okay with dealing with if the SPY falls up and down. But with something like Kathy, which is getting exposure to growth, when I realized Palantir is gone, I had to really evaluate, well, the exposure now is Tesla, which is great, but they're selling off a lot of Tesla as well. But outside of that, the next biggest holdings, which are really going to be what allows ARK to grow, because Tesla's growth, like Tesla was already $1 trillion company and it got ARK to 150, but now ARK is down and Tesla is still $1 trillion company. So Tesla has to get to like a $2-3 trillion company for that to have a meaningful impact on ARK, because investors are already seeing that if Tesla's worth 1,000 and ARK is at 40, they're not going to get ARK to 70 because Tesla goes to 1,100, right? But before, when they started buying it, that's when the actual buildup was happening. Now T-Doc has to work. Now Zoom has to work. Now Roku has to work. Now Robinhood has to work. Now Coinbase has to work. I don't have conviction in any of them. I just don't. I definitely don't have conviction in Roku, this linear streaming ads. If they think that's the next level of innovation over something like a Palantir, it's insane to me. It's just insane. That's all it is. It's insane. It's insane. And I don't buy it anymore. And then you've got Roku, and it's like, so I said Roku. Then you got Robinhood, which I know I used Robinhood, but it's like, it's not innovative. I'm going to be very surprised to see the earnings. They just cut 9% of their workforce. Don't trust Robinhood. And then you got Zoom, which, and like look at Zoom. Zoom is just insane to me. When I saw this today, I was like, why is this happening? Zoom is the second biggest thing in RKK. What is this? 6 million shares of this? Like, I don't get it. Maybe I'm wrong. And, maybe Zoom really goes to the moon. But, like, at this point, I don't have the type of conviction that is necessary to look at this portfolio every day, which is why ultimately I made the decision. It's not even some people on the live stream are saying it's emotional investing. I don't think so. I think this is a question of opportunity cost. So to me, Palantir's at $10.80. I don't know how long it's going to stay there. I don't know if it's going to go lower. I don't know if it's going to go up, but I want that. I want that. I want to reduce my average, and I want that at that price. Absolute steal to me. I want to get that done. ARK, I'm looking at it every day, and I'm like, that's at 40. For me to break even, it has to go 100% to 80. I'm like, well, that's not happening until the market changes. Palantir could go to 20 without the entire market changing, right? I can actually get back. We can make 100% on Palantir. Now, is that going to happen anytime soon? I don't know, but I don't think it's going to follow ARK. I don't want to bet on ARK, especially when they just lost $300 million in one day on Teladoc. Now they're down $2.2 billion. Can you imagine if they liquidate their Teladoc portfolio? Could you imagine if that Teladoc's gone? I mean, it feels like mismanagement of money. It doesn't feel like it's the right way. I don't think those companies are innovative. I don't want that type of exposure to growth. It's not shitting on Kathy. It's not saying she's a bad person. It's just saying I have a conviction on Palantir, and Palantir is now gone. And as a result, that Palantir is now gone, it makes me feel like what's left in the fund, and I can't find some unique thing that's in the fund. I just can't. I just can't find something that makes me feel well at night looking at it. I can't sleep well at night knowing I own Roku or Zoom or Coinbase. Like, and maybe some of you can, but to me, like, None of that stuff's interesting. Spotify. I mean, I talked about Spotify on the morning open. They increased 2 million subscribers. By the way, Kathy dumped 230,000 shares of this the other day. They're basically like a Netflix of podcasts, essentially. They're not really a platform. They don't really generate that many profits because they're paying for all this exclusive content, and the revenues they're getting aren't that good because a lot of those royalties go back to the record labels. Advertising only 11% of their business. So when you look at it, they DPO'd at 165 3 years ago. Now they're at 100. It's like they're below their DPO price, but they've grown, I think, at least 40, 50 million subscribers since they DPO'd. To me, it's rough. It's really, 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 really rough to bet on this. I don't know that much about the other DraftKings. It's like, and again, I was willing to take a bet on this when they had the stock that I wanted in there, and I was willing to like have that allocation to growth outside of that. I don't see it. At the end of the day, I just don't see these companies as innovative. That's it. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe I'm missing something. Teladoc, me and Chris Patel, one of my good friends, we did an hour and a half breakdown on Teladoc, I think 2 months ago. We really go deep in it. It's not like I'm just saying this because I'm saying this. We've done a Roku breakdown, Teladoc breakdown. We've really tried to understand these companies and get what she's getting that the rest of us kind of don't get. And when you see what happens with Teladoc yesterday, when they report a $6.6 billion loss, down 47%, that's not coming back for a while. I mean, they have to have exponential growth to get investors to even feel confident. Imagine if management wants to acquire something now. Investors, shareholders will be like, well, you spent 700% more than what you should have spent over something when you tried to acquire something before. Now you're like, trust is gone at that point. And I think with Kathy, for me, a lot of trust is gone. So I'm back in more Palantir. It's fine. I finally did it. Haven't owned it in 2 months. A lot of you have been asking when you're going to buy again. 111 shares into the portfolio, 2,176 shares, 1966 average. Very, very happy to be back in Palantir, and I did it live. So definitely check out the morning check. I'll put it in the description. You'll see the morning live stream when I did it live. It was more in thematic when I did it live, and it was more fun. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you have ARK and if you're selling out of ARK, if you are buying the dip on Palantir, what other stocks you're buying on, or what other stocks you're buying, and let me have some knick-knack ideas to put in the back of this background. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.